The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Four Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Episode number 331 on this September 7th, 2023, opening night of the NFL season. Another year's come and gone for non-football or for football fans. Here it is, Christmas Eve for football fans, Dave. This day is almost bigger than anything in sports, and not so much for actual football fans, but I think it's bigger for the betting people out there and fantasy pools and blah blah blah. It's huge.
Oh goodness, how many office pools, friend pools? There's pools everywhere. In fantasy, there is money being exchanged all over the place. I would hazard a guess that 60% of it is out of the realm of the government purveyance. It's not gambling, but football comes, people gamble. And you know what? If you're in a pick 'em pool every week, you're gambling.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we'll get into the NFL a little bit here. I went out for a couple of beers, Dave, tonight, as I usually do before the show starts here, to get the creative juices flowing a little bit there. And I was over at Mojo's there having a beer, and there was a lot of young kids in there having a good time spending their hard-earned student loan money, and then there's a lot of older gentlemen in there. There was baseball games on and football game obviously as well. But there is an epidemic in this country. It's probably right across North America, and there is an epidemic, young and old, through males throughout North America, and I don't understand it for the life of me. I've never been this person. I never will be this person. But the epidemic of backwards hat guy has swept North America. I don't understand it for the life of me. I don't get it.
In my 20s, I was a backwards hat guy, and I'm going to...
Every time?
50-50. 50-50. During the day, backwards hat, going out, forwards hat. Or if I'm doing something.
That's backwards, though. Like, during the day, you should have had a forward hat on because the sun's out. During the night, you should have your hat on backwards.
Well, I guess it was kind of... Yeah, it depends if I'm doing something, because, when I became backwards hat guy, A, Ken Griffey was popular at the time, and B, I was a surveyor. And then so you can't look
through the total station or whatever it was.
With the bill, right. Yeah, I had to turn my hat backwards to be able to use my instrument. So that's when I started wearing my hat backwards a lot. Yeah, it just depends. And then also, too, in Southern Alberta, if you put your hat backwards, it doesn't blow off in the wind as much.
So you're justifying the backwards hat guy. Like, by the sounds of it, you're pro backwards hat guy. You're not besmirching, because it is Thursdays. We haven't besmirched on Thursdays for a long time. It sounds like you're justifying backwards hat guy. I'm not backwards hat guy. Never have been.
Under the age of 30, anyone can wear a backwards hat. And 30's pushing it. I want to say 25. If you're nobody over the age of 30 should be wearing a backwards hat.
It's funny you say that. As we were walking out of Mojo's there, the booth right by the door there were two guys who were closer to 50 than they were 30. They had their hats on. They're just two guys sitting in the booth eating some wings, having a beer, and they both had their hats on backwards. And I was like, oh, Jesus.
You're too old for that. I can't, the only time I've ever had my hat on backwards in the last 30 years was because of the wind. Because if you're walking into the wind, it can grab the bill, and I fucking hate chasing my shit in the wind.
I honestly can't remember last time I had my hat on backwards. Maybe walking around the house or something, put it on something goofy or whatever. But I can honestly not remember last time I had my hat on backwards. Because the emblem, the reason why you wear a hat is one is to keep sun out of your eyes, and two is to support your team. And the logo on the hat is on the front of your head.
No one wears a ball cap to keep the sun out of their eyes anymore. Nobody.
I do. I don't wear sunglasses.
You're wearing one right now.
Well, the light. I don't know. This is support the team, right? This support
You're
the team.
supporting the team, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's two reasons why you wear a hat. Side of the eyes, support the team.
And I don't wear a hat like most people do.
You don't wear hats very often, no.
I don't wear hats very often. I do it occasionally, right? Because I got a pretty good lid of hair, right? I got a nice salad.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it too.
The new thing I've noticed a lot, and my brother's stepson there, Jackson, and I think there's a lot of kids do it now. They they're growing their hair long and they blow dry. They put their hat on and then they blow dry their locks out so it goes out more. Have you seen that? That's another epidemic that needs to stop.
Well, Jasper likes his hair tight. I don't know, like he gets to do his haircut however he wants, and he's high and tight. And that's the way
maybe it's a hockey. No, it's a baseball thing. So I've seen a lot. Like more of the hockey guys do a lot where they put their hat on and they blow their hair out the back. So it's just I don't get it. No, I mean, I had some goofy haircuts back when I was 18, 19 years old too, but
he has buddies with crazy flow as well, and it's just like it's his thing, and that he just obviously likes it tight. So I don't know. He's my boy, and he's a good boy, and I'll let him do what he wants. So, but he never leaves the house without a hat. He always has a hat on, and I never see him wear it backwards.
Ever. Because he's a smart kid.
He's a smart kid. He knows the rules.
What's the old line, on and moron, right? So we had on the front, good, put it on and turn around, moron. So one of those things. Anyways, Dave, the NFL season getting going tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Detroit Lions as we speak right now. It's 14-14. Doesn't much matter a whole bunch as we talk here. A lot of storylines, as there is every year, happening around the National Football League. It's a 17-week fucking sprint to the Super Bowl. And there's a lot of shit going on. And one of the things that I had to laugh about today, they were talking about your Denver Broncos and Sean Payton and old Rusty Wilson. I don't think they're going to get along. I don't know how that's going to go. Going to turn out for those two cats. They're two uber males and everything else going on. And Wilson had a lot more pull last year with your Denver Broncos than he did this year. What's your feel with coming into to Sunday with your Denver Broncos and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson? Are they going to last the season? How's it going to happen? What's your thoughts?
To quote the great Bart Scott from the New York Jets, can't wait. Denver's making the playoffs this year. They're going to be second place in the AFC West behind Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to be 11-6. They're going to make the playoffs. They're better than the Jets. They're better than the Steelers. They're better than the Chargers. They're not as good as the Bills. They're not as good as the Chiefs. They're not as good as the Bengals. But they're a playoff team. Sean Payton knows how to coach, and Russell Wilson is like, it's his fucker walk year. And say what you will about him being a corny guy and not getting along and wanting this and being a prima donna. At the end of the day, he's a competitor. He's won a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes, and he doesn't want to end his career being a backup to fucking Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. Like I think he's going to bear down. I think they're going to do shit, and I think they're going to be a force this year.
My thoughts on that, Dave, and I'm just being counterpoint. And I mean, like I've said before, I could care less about the Denver Broncos and everything else, but it's one of those things that I find it interesting. I find NFL interesting how the uber males and uber males. NFL is an uber male kind of a sport, more so than any other sport that there is in the professional sports world. That you have a guy like Sean Payton who he's got something to prove to. He has he has this great resume, but it's actually only one Super Bowl, with a Hall of Fame quarterback with the most yards ever and blah 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 in Drew Brees. So he kind of has something to prove himself, and so there's going to I think there's going to be a bit of a if Russell Wilson doesn't produce by week 3, week 4, you're going to see Sean Payton start to hit the panic button. It's going to be a fucker walk year for him as well, because really without a Hall of Fame quarterback, what has Sean Payton done? It's easy to say, but because coaches are only as good as the players in front of them, but their systems and on and it goes. But Peyton's got something to prove himself, and if Russell Wilson doesn't come out gunslinging like he did under Pete Carroll, USC guy, if he doesn't come out gunslinging and having a good year, things could go sideways really quick in Denver.
Oh yeah, and I 100% agree. I have all the faith in the world for Sean Payton. He got fucked out of a couple Super Bowl appearances by the refs too. That Rams Super Bowl, that should have been the Saints in the Super Bowl that year, not the Rams, because they got fucked on that PI. He got fucked over by a year suspension with that Bounty Gate, which he didn't have anything to do with. The defensive coordinator had something to do with that. And
I disagree. But go ahead. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, and then like, so I think he left New Orleans with a little bit of bad taste in his mouth, because he feels he should have at least gone to one more Super Bowl. Took the year off after Breeze. He made Jameis Winston a shit ton of money, being a very mid quarterback with a big arm, but just can't read a defense. I think he's a hell of a coach. And if Russell Wilson can't figure this out, that he's playing for a hell of a coach who is an offensive-minded coach, and he wants him to succeed. If Russell Wilson lets his ego get in the way, then he's gone. Like Peyton signed a 5-year deal. They're letting Russell Wilson go way before they let Sean Payton go this year, for sure. No way.
I agree with you to an extent, but the thing is, the face of the franchise, not every team, just every team is your quarterback, not the coach. And if Sean Payton comes in saying, "I'm the guy," he's gonna have a problem. Like you said the other night, if you start 0-4, your season's done. If Peyton comes in, because he's already popping off to it was yesterday, I can't remember what he said, but it was kind of derogatory about Russell Wilson. If he comes in swagging his dick better than fucking, or bigger than Wilson swinging his dick, you're gonna have two dicks swinging and hitting each other. That ain't a good sign for your Denver Broncos.
But I think, but the head coach is the dick, right? Especially a head coach like him, and Belichick, and I think, and Tomlin. Like, you don't fuck with me. I'm the guy. I am the answer. The buck stops here. Do what I say, or hit the fucking bricks. Like, and then that's the thing. You say the most popular guy on the team is the quarterback. Most popular guy in the Pittsburgh Steelers is Mike Tomlin. The most popular guy.
Yeah, but he's been there forever.
The most popular guy in New England is Bill Belichick.
Been there forever.
The most popular.
Peyton's 3 weeks in.
The most popular guy, like, only because of Pat Mahomes, but Andy Reid, Pete Carroll, right? That's why these guys have these jobs for so long. Sean Payton left New Orleans. He didn't get fired. He left. He walked away. He didn't like the way things were going. So it's not like he got canned. I believe he's a top 10 coach in the league for sure.
That's a fucking pretty blunt statement, Dave, because if he was the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, you wouldn't be saying the same thing.
I would still think, I think he's a top 10 coach in the league for sure. And then the guy that, like, San Diego coach has proven the Chargers coach, I forget his name, he's proven he can't do it. And his teams buckle under pressure. Coaches like Sean Payton, coach their teams to have pressure, how to respond under pressure. And they don't tolerate fucking stupid mistakes like Nathaniel Hackett. Like, I don't understand. Like, in football, the details of games are won and lost on details, and you have to be a taskmaster. And to be a taskmaster, you have to be a bit of a hard ass.
I disagree 100%.
Yeah,
I disagree 100%. Like, no, I disagree 100% in the fact that you said games are won and lost on details. Games are won and lost by the most talent on the field, and that's any sport. I disagree 100%.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong because
No.
if two shitty teams play each other, one eventually wins.
No, if
The best team always wins with the best players.
you are
Always.
not in football.
In football more than any.
No, that's fucking garbage. Because
We talked the other night that Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the National Football League by far. And it isn't close.
I agree with that.
Who's going to win? Who has a chance to win Super Bowl this year?
But here now, take the Denver Broncos that we had that I had to watch last year. You know, now in like 3rd and 3, and all of a sudden a false start. Now you're 3rd and 8. That's fucking bullshit. You can't keep coming back from shit like that. False starts, calling timeouts because the play clock's going out, and now you're 30 seconds left with needing.
Yes,
timeout.
I'll agree with you. Poorly coached teams will always lose, 100%.
Well, what if they have the best talent?
The best teams that have the best the best player has a better chance of winning than There was a team who probably finished in 9-8 last year. We had a great year. Oh boy, we really gave it our all. We went 9-8. But we weren't going to win anything.
Which wasn't
if you have the best player, you have a better chance of winning.
Which wasn't the Broncos. This whole
bullshit about football, about the details win games. No, the best players win games.
Details win games. Details keep your team in.
Details win games. Great players win championships.
You know, but like the greatest player in the world, if they don't have, if they're not on the same page and they're not calling the right plays and they're throwing to the wrong place and they're making the wrong reads, it doesn't fucking matter. Ask Al Davis and Jamarcus Russell, right? Like that guy was
the best player, Dave. Like fuck, he
was a physical specimen. He could throw the ball into the fucking atmosphere, but he didn't want to study a playbook, right? Kyler Murray is a physical specimen. He can run like the fucking wind. He has an arm like a god, but he doesn't want to study the playbook. Like, get fucked. Like the football more than any other sport is where these guys are all great athletes. All of them are great athletes. If you can't get them all on the same page and paying mind to details, then your season is just fucked before you even know it.
We talked about it in year 1 of the 1420 podcast. We talked about year 2 of the 1420 podcast. And we're going to talk about year 3 of the 1420 podcast. Every team is 9-8. It's the talent that makes you fucking what you are.
Coaching does. New England never had the best talent top to bottom when they were winning all their Super Bowls. Never. Not once. They traded their best talent for picks as opposed to paying them. They never had. In fact, their most talented team lost to Eli Manning, right? They were 16-0. And they lost to the Giants. That Randy Moss, Tom Brady team, they were dynamite, man.
So why is it then, Dave, that these owners and GMs and everything else give these fucking quarterbacks and guys this much money? If that's what your logic is, if that's what your theory is, then why are you paying these guys to fucking if these coaches are these uber fucking coaches? Why are these players making so much fucking money? Honestly,
I don't know. I agree. Like, and we've talked about that a lot. Like it's like why am I paying you this much money? Because
if these coaches are so smart and yes, coach, yeah, coach, blah blah blah. I talked about it a couple weeks ago because this whole coach thing. Everyone's a coach. If these coaches are so smart, then why are players making, or why is a quarterback? Because Joe Burrow's going to get paid because he's apparently probably signed it on Saturday night before the season starts for the Bengals. He's going to get 45 or 50 million bucks a year. If you can just insert coach here and win, why pay anybody? Honestly, I'm not being an asshole here. I'm asking a serious question.
Well, because like I always say in any sport, you gotta reward your difference makers, right? The biggest difference maker in football right now is Patrick Mahomes, and then you have your difference makers on defense. Because if you don't have your shutdown corners or pass rushers, you can give Ryan Tannehill, if you give him all day to throw, he's going to find someone to hit. Like, even if it's for 7 yards, but 7 yards, 7 yards, 7 yards, and all of a sudden you got a 12-play drive for a touchdown.
But if you have a good offensive line to give that guy to give the Ryan Tannehills a chance to throw the football, then pay them.
Pay them, but then you have your Nick Bosa's, Von Miller's.
Every company's only as good as their weakest link. Whether you're construction or fucking car dealership or whatever it might be, if the shittiest guy fucks things up, because that's who gets noticed a lot. If the guy doing oil changes at a car dealership fucks things up, that goes on fucking on whatever the fuck for reviews. If a construction worker has a laborer who fucks things up, that it's going to be shitty. I think coaches get way too much credit. It's the talent. It's the talent that wins.
I completely disagree. Because coaches know their
strengths. Then why pay these guys?
Because you have to. Because there is difference in talent out there. There is difference in talent. Like, Patrick Mahomes is more talented than Ryan Tannehill, right?
100%.
But what if you gave him Nathaniel Hackett as his head coach, and drawing up fucking shit plays and doing shit things and going off sides and getting plays in late? Then how's he supposed to succeed when the game plan isn't worth the shit tickets that you drop in the toilet when you're done growing a tail, right? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. You could have a carpenter is only good as his tools, and the head coach is the carpenter. I can't teach Ryan Tannehill to do what Patrick Mahomes can.
But neither can a coach.
But I can also throw sand in the gears. I can not have the plays ready. I can have a bad a shitty coached offensive line who's consistently dropping.
Are you saying a coach is more important than a quarterback?
Yes. Yes.
So why aren't coaches making $45 million and quarterbacks are?
I don't know. Belichick, like, I don't know how much he makes, but I got to guess it's 10 million. Probably here. How's this? Because it's a longer career.
What's the owner care how long your fucking career is?
Well, I don't know. Like, you asked, and I don't know the answer, but like, I got to guess Belichick's making 10 to 15 per. I got to guess Tomlin's making 10 to 15 per. What's his nuts? Bull cut in Vegas paid Gruden, I think, $80 million for. I think he was paying Gruden $10 million a year and a stake in ownership. I think coaches are more important. How the fuck is Tomlin doing with shit quarterbacks like Roethlisberger and Pickens?
Well, I wouldn't say Roethlisberger was shitty. Like,
he wasn't good. He wasn't good at the end.
Must have been doing something right.
Well, B+.
Else.
Well, because he had a great coach. And like all these people that want to suck Big Ben's cock, like, he had a great coach. He was never once an all-pro quarterback.
Talent wins games, no matter what sport it is.
Then how come McDavid doesn't have 4 Stanley Cups?
Well, hockey's a different beast a little bit than football is. Like,
okay, but then
we've talked about a lot. Like the two sports that depend on one guy more than anything else. One is football with a quarterback. You need a very good quarterback to great quarterback to win. And in hockey, and not so much anymore, not like it was 20 years ago, where you need a great goaltender can win you a lot of hockey games. Like those are the two most important positions in sports. Hockey's different now. Like hockey, like now you have with goaltenders, you have guys who are tradesmen compared to back 30 years ago. You have artists who are goaltenders. Like it's a different way of going, right? So like those are two sports. If you have a bad goalie, you have a bad team. If you have a bad quarterback, you have a bad team, right? And that's factual. Like that's factual.
Joe Flacco, Chad Johnson, who the fuck else? Trent Dilfer, all got Super Bowl rings because the coach knew the strengths of the team. The strengths of the team was the defense, and they coached up that way, right? The quarterback was out there to not lose the game. It's happened 3 times in the last 20 years, right?
So that doesn't make them a bad quarterback. It doesn't make them a great quarterback. Right?
They were bad.
Well,
Brad Johnson, whoever the fuck won that one for Tampa.
Do you consider Jimmy Gorgas a bad quarterback?
Yes.
Then nothing but win.
He's serviceable. When you say win, like how many rings does he have? And then you got Shanahan, who was the OC for Atlanta when Matt Ryan won the NFL MVP. He's had San Francisco licking the jar with Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, right?
So, do you consider him a great coach who's ever won because of his quarterback?
I wouldn't mind Shanahan coaching my team. Put it that way. I'm not going to call him great yet because he's only 3 years into this job as a head coach.
So if he had a great quarterback, he'd probably have a ring.
No, I disagree. I don't know, right? Like shit happens, right? I think they would have, like I said it last year all the time. I think they beat Philly 9 times out of 10 if they don't have to go to Christian McCaffrey as their quarterback.
McCaffrey's not a quarterback.
But he was.
Really?
McCaffrey, like, because he was their 3rd string quarterback last year in the NFC Championship game.
If Jimmy, I don't know. Like, I just find I think that everybody gives coaches way too much credit. Way too much.
I think coaches are more important than anything else in the NFL. Way more important.
I've said this before. We'll jump away from it a little bit, but I've said for a long time that being the coach of Alabama, yes, it's hard. Obviously, with Nick Saban, he's done a great job. Obviously, makes a lot of money and everything else. But recruiting for Alabama is a lot easier than recruiting for Montana State.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So this great football mind that fucking Nick Saban is. Yeah, you got to win 4 games a year. The other ones will take care of themselves. These football coaches who fucking tout themselves to be smarter than Albert Einstein, maybe you're not. The talent wins. Talent goes to teams, like in college especially, right? And that goes to the NFL. And the NFL, like if you have a great quarterback, there's a good chance you're going to win, or so have a better chance of winning.
So you're saying the GM is more important than the coach in the NFL because he's the one that acquires said talent.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. We're going to agree to disagree on that. So I think the coach is the most important position, the most important position to fill if you want to have a solid NFL career. Look at the Dallas Cowboys, right? Jerry Jones has wanted nothing but yes men ever since he got rid of Jimmy Johnson. Barry Switzer won one because of the talent that Jimmy Johnson acquired and developed and made into Super Bowl champions.
There's a good chance, Dave, that you and I could have coached those fucking the Cowboy teams and probably got to a championship game.
Yeah, that Barry Switzer team, right? Like, and that's what, and it serves Jerry Jones right to be suffering all these years for doing Jimmy Johnson dirty like that.
Yeah.
And to see anyone can coach that team, but Jimmy's the one that made that team, and Jerry thinks it's easy, and it's not, and he's going to be swimming. He's not going to win another one He's not going to win another one.
No. Get off this little bit of NFL season happening right now. It's a lot of. I mean, it's ifs and buts, kinds of nuts this time of year when it comes to the National Football League season. Who's under more pressure this year? The Green Bay Packers or the New York Jets?
Oh, the Jets are under way more pressure. Jordan Love gets a bye year. They it's no one wants to follow the great one, right? And say what you like about Aaron Rodgers, about what a wingnut he was. He was great. He 3-time NFL MVP, 1-time Super Bowl champion. Not the most likable of people, but hell of a football player who's old. Jordan Love gets a pass. Aaron Rodgers, you got 2 years to fuck or walk in New York. You ain't in Kansas anymore, even though I understand you ain't in Wisconsin anymore. You got people, when I say people, I mean media wanting to talk to you all the time. And instead of like the 20, now there's like 200 with a mic in front of you.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that all turns out. I'm not cheering against them, but I'm not cheering for them. You know, I don't want to see it. I mean, fuck, who the fuck am I? But you never want to see somebody fail. But this is one of those ones you want to see somebody fail a little bit and get put down, just brought down a little bit, because like at the end of the day, winning championships means a lot. Like he's a legacy guy, obviously. There's no getting around that. But what's crazy to me is that the Green Bay Packers, for the better part of 30 years, had two of the best quarterbacks in football.
Back-to-back Hall of Famers.
And had two, count them, in 30 years.
Yeah.
2 championships.
They've only made it to 4, right?
And if it wasn't for Desmond Howard getting that kickoff in 1997 or whatever it was, who knows what would have happened? Like, it's crazy to me that.
Do you know what Green Bay needed? Better coaching.
But Holmgren's been, he was the guy back then, wasn't he?
Holmgren got Favre's.
Favre's.
Mike McCarthy.
But he had a career forever. So that's what I'm saying. These coaches get, and it's every sport. These not so much baseball anymore, but these coaches get recycled through because they're just part of the old boys club. Hockey's the same way, and football's the same way. They get recycled through because we know him. There's a good chance. Like, coaching isn't that these. If every coach was so fucking good, why isn't there more rings being tossed around? These great coaches.
Well, because the best ones get most of them, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but obviously in football it was Belichick, and Tomlin, Mike Shanahan. You
go through those teams. Who are the best quarterback? Elway, Brady. As much as you don't like Roethlisberger, he's one of the all-time greats. He is.
He's not. No, he's not.
He is. No, but he is.
No, he's not. He's not.
But he's like in the pantheon of things, he'll be considered an all-time great. He will. Like, I know you don't like the guy for whatever reasons and everything.
I disagree. I will never agree with that. Philip Rivers is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger. You put Ben Roethlisberger on San Diego Chargers.
So that's the one. Rivers. Okay, we'll give Tomlin and Roethlisberger. We'll throw them out of there. At the end of the day, you need good players.
Okay.
If your quarterback is good, you have a chance.
Yeah.
Actually, not good. If your quarterback is great, you have a chance.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Coaching don't mean that much because every system's the same. Blah blah blah.
No, I disagree.
So why do quarterbacks make so much?
Because you do need a good quarterback. You do need one.
You're talking on both sides of your mouth.
No, that's but unless your defense is your strong point, right? Peyton Manning, the year Denver, he won that Super Bowl with Denver. He wasn't the best player on the team. There's 4 other players on the field better than him, and 3 of them happen to be on the defensive side of the ball. And that's a coach's job to recognize this, and then script the game plan accordingly.
Is he in recent memory? Is he the least? Because he was at the downside of his career. There's no getting around that. Yes, he won passing yards, but he was on the downhill slope of his career at that point. Is he the least? How do I word this? Is he the least talented quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the last 15, 20 years? At that point. You know what I mean?
The year he won it.
Yeah.
Like he was terrible physically. I honestly don't think he could throw the ball 30 yards.
but smart.
He would, yeah, smart and like understood his limitations. Like as a starting quarterback, he didn't have the physical tools to be. He was a shadow of his former self.
Well, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
midnight hit strikes for everybody, right?
Yeah, and that's what happened to him. And so, yeah, the last little bit, yeah, for sure. Like the only other one I would like the ones I think of all the time are Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson with Tampa Bay. Those
I
guys were
vaguely
fucking
remember
terrible.
Brad Johnson. Vaguely. That was
Remember
like
that?
2004, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, they beat the holy hell out of the New York Giants. That was Gruden's team with Warren Sapp and
No, didn't they beat the
Dunn, I think
Raiders?
was. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, you're right. They did beat the Raiders.
They beat
It
the
was
Raiders.
it was the Ravens that beat the holy shit out of the Giants that year.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's team
Mhm.
year in year. I don't know. It's just weird. It's interesting. I mean, football season. It's all year long. It goes on, and everybody has their Super Bowl predictions and already, and who's going to win, and blah blah blah, and everybody's got their fucking betting pools. And the one thing they will get off the X's and O's, which we know nothing about. We shouldn't even pretend to know anything about it because we're two white middle-aged guys from Canada who never played football in our lives. But the one fun thing I like about the NFL season is I'm not in a fantasy draft like you are, but the one thing I do like is
The pick'em?
the pick'em's okay, but the survivor pool. I love the survivor pool. I joined the belly up thing today or yesterday or whatever it was. I picked the Ravens to win this week because they're playing Houston Texans. But the survivor pool is fantastic.
It's fun. It's like it's only one game, but you have to pick it, and you do put a little bit more thought into it than you should. And it is fun, and it's a nice payout. Like in the 25 years I've been playing football pools, I did win a survivor pool once. I do remember the game. It was Jeff Garcia was playing for
Calgary Stampeder Jeff Garcia.
Yeah, who was playing quarterback for the Eagles.
Yeah, he went from San Fran to the Eagles. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Eagles beat San Fran in overtime, and that was the game that won it. I was the only one to have that game picked. Because that was game 8 or 9. It's amazing how it never goes to game 10, a survivor pool, because there's always an upset, and an upset takes out 50% of the
Last
place.
year, I think I was out week 1 or week 2. I picked San Fran. I can't remember what it was. It doesn't much matter. But I was out week 1 or week 2, and I was like, well, that sucks. And I thought it was a guarantee. Like, what the hell? I love the survivor pool. Like it's
same.
You could, like, if you want to get into it, you barely have to watch, and then just go, okay, yep, this team's going to guarantee. But every week, like I said, every year, every team starts off 9-8.
Right,
and it used to be 8-8, now it's 9-8, and then it's like, okay. I'd like to get deeper into it this year. I don't know if I will. I probably won't. It'll probably be week 1, but Texas is probably going to beat. It's the way it always works. The way when I bet, so not very good. I'd like to get into like week 7 or 8, and maybe research a little bit. Okay, well then this team, but who do they got to? Because you can't pick the same team, and don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. You don't want to blow your load and pick. Who's going to be you don't want to do the Eagles in week 4 because you need the Eagles in week 12.
Right, exactly.
I think it's
my rules. I like to save a couple dogs for a little bit down the road when things get a little bit more dicey. And then also I hate picking home teams to lose. I double hate picking a home team in division team to lose, because those are the ones that are going to stand up.
Well, I was watching Overdrive out of Toronto today, and they were talking about basically like when you're like it's a known fact that when you're the home team, it's 3 points.
Yeah,
it's 3 points. So you're and I don't know what it is. And a few years back, I was going. It's a lot of years ago now when I lived in Vernon, but the Cal football pool, we're laughing about we should put just a throwaway team in and pick the home team to win every game, and wonder how it all would work out, because it can't be too far from 660. Like home teams win a lot.
Home teams, yeah, it's worth more, and home teams like more upsets are at home especially when a division rival comes into town, right? It just there's a difference, and then and it's been proven too that the referees
Home cooking.
call a couple more penalties on the visiting team. It's just
home cooking.
The psychological aspect of the whole thing. So
that's the one thing about and it happened last week, so it's kind of a fucking bad thing for me to say, but like in college football, a lot, like home teams always win. They always win. Like there's a lot. Last weekend there was a couple, 3 upsets there, but in general, college football, you could pretty much mark it down on the calendar that the home teams are going to win no matter what. NFL, come week 3, come week 4, that's when it all starts to the wheels hit the road a little bit. Yeah, no, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I'm not the biggest NFL guy, and I like the storylines more than I like the games, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. My biggest storyline for me, I want to see how Aaron Rodgers, the self-proclaimed king of the world, is going to fare in New York City, out of Wisconsin, and see how that goes. To me, that's the biggest one. What's the biggest one for you?
Well, who has more pressure on him, Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson?
Rodgers.
I'm really interested to see how Deshaun Watson performs in Cleveland, because he is talented. He hasn't played football in 2.5 years now, though, too. So that's going to end. He's playing for a putrid organization, and it's going to be interesting to see how he handles himself, because he has the tools. There is no doubt in my mind that Deshaun Watson has all the tools of any great quarterback. And I'm really curious to see how he performs this year. I'm really curious as to see that.
It's gonna be interesting. How much is Joey Burrow? It's the contract's probably already signed right now. We'll get to the next segment here in a second here, but the contract's probably already signed. All the physicals are done. The I's are dotted. The T's are crossed. They'll probably announce it on before the game starts on Sunday morning there. What's Joey Burrow's contract going to be, you think?
56.5 for 8 years.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know, but like he has to be up there. He has to make more than
look what Herbert got.
Yeah. And Herbert's not going to win a playoff game in his career.
No.
I don't think he will.
Why?
I don't get it either, buddy. Pay the coach.
I will never understand it. The most the most underpaid athlete on the planet. He hasn't won fuck all either, but the most underpaid player on the planet, and he's by far heads and shoulders above anybody else in the league that he plays in, is Connor McDavid. And he's actually making less money than some other guys are right now. Yes, his salary structure are different. I get it. But that's an investment. These quarterbacks that you just said, Dave Van Robe's just said, he's never going to win. Never. And I agree with you. Like, what the fuck? Like, McDavid is better at his trade than any quarterback. Well, Mahomes and him are comparable. McDavid is by far the greatest athlete in his sport.
Yes, he's heads and tails better.
The spread.
Right. Yeah.
Than anyone else in sports.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes and Lionel Messi might be comparables, kind of thing, and that's it.
But
And then put Shohei Ohtani in there, but not really because he's not as dominant as McDavid. And but that thing though too is just hockey doesn't have
Because
the same
Ohtani
kind
doesn't
of
hit
money.
600,
Right?
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't in baseball.
Right. And he doesn't throw complete game shutouts every other time either,
Yeah.
right? Because he just can't. So yeah, you're right. McDavid is the best at his craft in any other sport. Like it's non-debatable. It's non-debatable. He's the best.
Like right now,
But-
if we were to put money down on Bodog or Bet US or whatever the fuck that McDavid MVP, yep, you'd lose money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like,
100,
no shit.
yeah, 100 to win $75.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's crazy to me. It's just absolutely nuts. Anyways, Super Bowl champion. I don't know. So I'm gonna ask you because you follow more than I do.
The Denver Broncos. Those ass hats. I had
On our
some
third
money-
anniversary show, you laughed at fucking when Dave from Lower
Dave.
Playing Field
I
and,
laughed out
and
loud.
Jim from the fan of the van. They both said that the Pittsburgh Steelers. They both said the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you laughed at them out loud. And now I'm laughing at you out loud. The Denver Broncos. I appreciate your dedication to your team, Dave. But I'm saying right now, this is money on the line. The Denver Broncos are not winning the Super Bowl.
I agree with you, but back a year or two ago, when BetUS.com was one of our sponsors, I still had some money left over, so I put $85 on the Broncos to win at 1,600 odds. So like it's a fat little payday for 1420 Dave if they do pull it off. So
There you go.
I am just putting it out into the universe, and like if I think it's going to be true, and then maybe it becomes true, just don't worry. Party is on me if they pull this out.
There we go. No, party's on you. Fuck me. Holy fuck. The betting's happening.
Those ass hats can say it. Why can't I?
No, and I laughed at you like you laughed at them. Whatever. I'm gonna go the dark horse. I'm gonna go the dark horse. And I am going to say, because the Oakland or the Las Vegas Raiders have put some pieces together, they got to actually have a coach, not Gruden now. Jimmy G is better than people think. He's serviceable. He doesn't fuck up. He does not fuck up.
Or Gorgeous Jim?
Both.
Okay.
Gorgeous Jim does not make mistakes. He's not great. He's not great by any means, but he doesn't fuck up. My dark horse is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Look at us two asshats. We got no chance.
Two white Canadians in our basement in our fucking 50s. What the fuck do we know? Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar podcast for River Sports, talking a whole lot more. This thing was brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today. Save yourself $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek.com today. I have no idea.
Neither do I. I'd love the Broncos to do it. I don't think they are. I do think the Chiefs are going to win it.
Fuck the Chiefs.
Yeah, but they're just too good. Like you said, they got the best player in the game, and they got a really good head coach too. And they'll figure it out once that Clark, whoever the fuck, the guy that their defensive guy that's holding out, he's going to make a difference because Kansas City's defense looks not overly good. It's a good thing Detroit's not that good.
Oh, that prick Kelsey's out tonight. That's good. Makes my heart fucking
it doesn't
glow
hurt my
like
feelings.
rainbows, unicorns. What a prick.
He has a bruised bone in his knee.
Yeah, so do I. Fuck him.
Yeah, but
Fuck
well,
the
he's making more money tonight than us. His game check's bigger than ours.
It's not about money, Dave. This guy's a dick. You know what? Nobody has called Brent Redlinsky or Dave Van Robies a dick today. Nobody.
Well, to our faces. I don't know.
No, I do.
I don't know. Yeah.
Or
I
no,
don't
behind my
think so.
back. No, nobody. No one's called me a dick behind my back today. I know this. Millions of people have called Travis Kelce a dick today.
Oh, that fucking dick.
He's a dick. Guy's
Yeah.
such a fucking dick.
Why that guy had to be such a fucking dick?
Being a dick.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.